On July 16, 1054, Cardinal Humbert, representing the authority of the Catholic Church, entered the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, where he placed a document in front of Patriarch Michael Cerularius during preparations for the service, and then left Constantinople for Rome, first leaving the Hagia Sophia and then the city itself. This document declared that Patriarch Michael had been excommunicated by the Pope, the head of the Roman Church. On the same day, Patriarch Michael convened a church council and excommunicated those who had excommunicated him, marking July 16, 1054 as the official date of the separation between the Western and Eastern churches. This division, known to historians as the Great Schism or the East-West Schism, was not an abrupt event but the culmination of centuries of events that had been brewing for hundreds of years. Throughout the Middle Ages, one of the fundamental debates among Christian clergy was which church had universal supremacy. The popes argued that supremacy belonged to the Western Church because Peter, one of Jesus' apostles, had come to Rome, established a church, and was martyred there. According to the papacy, Peter was the first pope, and his successors sat in the papal office in his stead, as Jesus himself had designated Peter as the founder of the church. Furthermore, Paul, who had significantly contributed to the spread of Christianity, had also come to Rome and was martyred there. The Western Church claimed that the bones of both were buried under a church in the Vatican, making the Roman Church the resting place of Christianity's two greatest martyrs, which was seen as evidence of the papacy's universal supremacy. Conversely, the Eastern Church justified its supremacy with a more worldly approach, highlighting that Constantinople was the capital of the empire and the residence of the emperor. In pre-Christian Roman religion, emperors were considered heads of religious authority, a tradition that continued after the capital moved to Constantinople in the 4th century. Therefore, emperors like Constantine, Theodosius, and Justinian held authority over religious matters, and for the Eastern Church, it was simple. Wherever the emperor resided, the church in that location should be superior to all others. The rivalry for supremacy between the Eastern and Western churches played a significant role in widening their rift, which appeared more political than religious. However, there were also cultural aspects to their division. By 1054, there were long-standing fundamental differences between the two churches, including practices like celibacy for clergy in the West, which was not mandated in the East, and the use of beards by clergy in the East, which was not a tradition in the West. Doctrinally, the Western Church had a more dogmatic structure where the Pope's word was indisputable, whereas the Eastern Orthodox Church acknowledged the Patriarch as human and capable of error. Language was one of the most significant barriers, as the West spoke Latin and the East spoke Greek, hindering communication and awareness of theological debates between the two sides. This linguistic divide eventually contributed to misunderstandings and disputes over theological concepts, such as the Filioque clause regarding the Holy Spirit's procession, which further deepened the division. The ecclesiastical hierarchy that emerged over time with the 5 patriarchates, Rome, Constantinople, Alexandria, Antioch, and Jerusalem, originally aimed to manage the church's affairs, but eventually highlighted the rivalry for supremacy, particularly between Rome and Constantinople. Political and military events, such as the iconoclasm controversy and the Lombard threat to Rome, which led the Pope to seek assistance from the Frankish king Pepin, further complicated relations. The donation of Pepe, which granted the papacy territories in Italy, made the Pope both a spiritual and a temporal authority, marking a significant shift in the Church's history. The culmination of these tensions was the mutual excommunications in 1054, precipitated by disputes over liturgical practices and church authority in regions conquered by the Normans. Despite initial indifference among the lay populations, the Schism eventually affected relations between Eastern and Western Christians, reaching a peak during the Crusades and the sack of Constantinople in 1204. Attempts at reconciliation over the years have largely been unsuccessful, and the divide between the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches remains unresolved to this day.